So a couple days ago, I was on Time Hop, which is this like conglomerated social media app which connects all of your social media and allows you to see images that you posted on that day X amount of years ago. And this came up. This is a picture from when I had my wish granted by the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And this is something I like to talk about sparingly on my channel because it's not something I want to milk or get a lot of content out of, but I'm a cancer survivor. I was diagnosed with osteosarcoma when I was 16 years old in high school. Osteosarcoma is a kind of bone cancer. It was in my knee. I had treatments through October of the year I was diagnosed, through early July the next year. I had a surgery in my leg, which I have a metal knee now with 4 and 6 inch rods going up my leg. I had complications in the surgery, so my leg hasn't gotten a lot of the strength back. And early on, the cancer spread to my lungs, evolving into stage 4 cancer. It's like the ultimate version of the cancer. And when I was going through surgery and treatments and all of that, the number my doctor had originally told me was 80% survival rate. But I later looked up afterwards that the survival rate for stage 4 osteosarcoma is closer to 25 to 30%. And so when I was going through treatment, I never considered the fact that I could have died. It was a really tough time in my life. Before I got diagnosed, I really felt like everything was going my way. I had been cast as the lead in one of the leads in a show. I had the best grades of my entire high school career. I really enjoyed my group of friends. It was just a time in my life where I felt like I was looking back on it, it really felt like I was in the prime of my high school years. I mean, it's hard to explain. And so it wasn't really until after I was done with treatment that the emotional toll that being diagnosed had finally bared all its weight onto my shoulders. I was diagnosed with PTSD, generalized anxiety disorder. I don't really know if I had anxiety beforehand. I don't really remember. But because of the effect it had on me both physically and mentally, this is something I have to live through every single day. For the small things, like I don't live on the first floor of my apartment, so every time I walk down or up the stairs, I'm reminded of how weak my leg is. When I'm working out and I'm short of breath, I'm reminded about how the cancer spread to my lungs and my lungs collapse and I feel like I can't finish my workout. Just the other day, I was in a coffee store and I saw a guy with a medical port on the back of his arm. And I felt debilitated for the rest of the day. And I know I'm using a lot of strong language here, but it's the only way I know how to describe how it makes me feel. In 2019, I really wanted to be more emotionally honest on social media. I like to put out a positive vibe into the world with my content and my posts, but obviously I am a person who has the emotional range of every other person. And so even though I like to make content about this sparingly, by not talking about it when I feel like it's affecting me, I'm not being emotionally honest. And recently, I felt a lot of that emotional and mental weight back on my shoulders. I've been really stressed out about other things unrelated to YouTube, school specifically, and because of that, I feel like I've been a lot more prone to anxiety. I drink a lot of coffee because I don't get a lot of sleep because of I have breathing issues sometimes and pains in my leg and other things, PTSD. And because of that, I drink a lot of coffee, which in turn also increases my anxiety. It's just a never-ending cycle. However, when I look at these pictures on Time Hop, which come up more often from October to July because that's when I'm treated, oftentimes I really feel like horrible about it. And I'm bummed out. And I'm anxious, and I feel like my cancer could come back. But at other times, I get this weird nostalgia about it. And it's really hard to describe why I would be nostalgic about a time when I was being treated, but I'll try my best. I mean, being the cancer kid is such a weird experience. You have people who you barely ever talked to becoming your friends because they want to visit you and support you. You have people who weren't friends with you before because of a falling out or me being a little bit of a jerk, coming back to like wanting to be a part of your life again. It was a weird transformative moment where I didn't feel like a kid anymore. In the story of my life, it's my coming of age. Not to mention that I was working on my YouTube channel right before I got sick. And when I got sick, that's when I made the video that first put me in anybody's eye. I made my top 10 what the fuck Sonic moments the day before I got surgery. And creating had always been an outlet for me through one version of it or another. I loved drawing as a kid. I still am hoping to make films in my life. I want to learn to play music. I love making videos on YouTube. I feel like creating, regardless of an expression of how I'm feeling, it's something I enjoy doing. And in a weird way, if I wasn't sick, if I never got sick, I wouldn't be where I'm at in this channel right now because I had the time to think and to work on my channel. And so there's these little happy tidbits and pieces sprinkled throughout my cancer story. And one of those is when I got connected with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Now, a lot of people have suggested that I do Make-A-Wish from the moment I was diagnosed, and it was always something I felt like I wasn't able to do because I didn't feel like I was gonna die, even though the cancer spreading to my lungs took my survival rate from 80% to like 25 to 30%, so I could have died. But when I was going through treatment, it was never an option for me. It wasn't until afterwards that I realized that I easily could have died. And so, towards the end of my treatment, I got really bad. I had lost something like 40 pounds. I'm 6'1", 6'2". I weighed 140 at my lightest. And so right towards the end of my treatment, I had a really bad chemo session. I got a fever. I had to go back to the hospital the day I got home, and I was in the hospital for something like 21 days. A lot of my friends were out of town, so they couldn't come visit. And I was almost septic, so the doctors encouraged less visitors. I remember the internet went down to the hospital, so I spent a lot of my time watching Netflix shows, and I wasn't able to do that. So that was especially horrible. And so I got to the hospital, and like a week later, I had some family come into town for their spring break. And I remember I had talked to the Make-A-Wish people about what I believe my wish should be. And they were trying to get me to meet all these people who I was into at the time. I was going through my, the eventual teenage boy Tarantino phase. So Tarantino was on the short list of people I could meet. I was really into Tenacious D at the time, and so Jack Black was initially on that list, but my mom talked to the events coordinator at the hospital I was getting treated at. My friend bought me tickets to go see a Tenacious D show, and through one way or another, I ended up getting backstage passes, so Jack Black was off the list because I already had met him. And then I could go somewhere, or I could get something. They were suggesting go to New York because I had never been to New York before, and I still have never been to New York, and it's something I would really like to do. But I didn't want to experience something like that as a cancer kid. I wanted to have something that would allow me to do what I wanted to do after I was done being treated and after I was done with all the surgeries and all of it. And I was writing a script for a mini series I wanted to do on my YouTube channel that never got made. And I said I wanted a full kit of video gear. And so months and months after we had settled on the wish, my family was in town. We went out to lunch. And when I got back, the driveway of my parents' house was full. And keep in mind, I was exhausted. I had just gotten done out of this horrible 3-week stint in the hospital. I just wanted to get home because being seated at a restaurant for an hour was enough to exhaust me. And so I was so mad to see this because my parents always had people coming to visit the house because people wanted to see me for obvious reasons. And so a big handful of my high school friends are there, and a lot of my extended family's there. And my wish granters are there. And I wish I remembered their names so I could thank them personally on this video. And they brought me to my bedroom. And there was just this stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks of equipment. All this stuff that I had made into a list and asked for. The camera I'm recording on right now is the Canon 5D Mark II. and the lens, the tripod it's sitting on, and the camera itself is what I asked for. This monitor back here was a part of my wish. This microphone arm, not the microphone, was a part of my wish. I wanted to keep creating. And my wish being to have the technical means to be able to create that. I mean, that's the only thing I could have wished for. And I think about it, back on it now, and I hear about a lot of kids who didn't make a wish, who regret asking to go to Disney or to meet somebody who ended up being disappointing. And I'm still so happy that this is what I asked for. I just wanted to keep creating. And I do want to keep creating. It's just something that's so important to me. And I know that I'm going through kind of like a tough time right now, but like, it's only because I want to create more. And because I feel like what I'm busy with now is exciting and happy. I mean, I'm finishing up college pretty soon here, but it's not what I want to do in the moment. What I want to do in the moment is make stupid little YouTube videos about anime and whatever else. And I do want to branch out eventually and do more experimental things on the platform that isn't exactly in my wheelhouse, but just the idea of creating makes me so excited and so happy. I made my YouTube channel. I made the video that started my YouTube channel when I was going through the hardest time in my life. I don't know why I decided to spend the afternoon before I got surgery making a video about Sonic the Hedgehog, but I did. And sometimes right now, I don't know why I keep creating, because YouTube is this endlessly frustrating platform to be on sometimes, but I love it. And to me, creating is both an outlet for me to express myself and for me to create. That's really it. I just love creating. When I made that video, I was just trying to ignore the fact that I was waiting to get leg surgery, but it really did end up changing my life. Like, this is my job now. That's exciting. And I feel like the best way I could say thank you to the Make-A-Wish Foundation is to use what they gave me and to continue to use what they gave me to live my life when I almost lost it.